Before we start the story, subscribe to the channel. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl. Her mother had died when she was very young. She was called Cindrella. Her father married another woman. This woman had two daughters. They were very ugly to look at, while Cindrella was very pretty. The stepmother and the stepsisters began to ill treat Cindrella. They gave her only a torn gown to wear. She was asked to do all the housework. The stepmother and the stepsisters enjoyed by going to ball dances and parties. She was not given even a decent bed to sleep. Cinderella had to sleep near the hearth among the ashes and cinders. One day, the king of the land invited all the young girls in his kingdom to a ball at his palace. He wanted to choose a bride. The stepsisters of Cinderella dressed themselves with costly gowns and combed their hair neatly to go to the ball. Cinderella asked if she too could join them to the ball. No, no, you look shabby and don't have a good frock. Attend to work at home and go to bed, they all said with a derisive laugh. Cinderella felt hurt. She ran out of the house and began crying bitterly. Suddenly, her godmother appeared, dressed in a shimmering gown. She asked Cinderella why she was crying so bitterly. She told her godmother, I want to go to the ball at the king's palace, but my stepmother and stepsisters are not willing me to go. The godmother consoled Cinderella. Oh, child, you shall also go to the ball. Go and get the largest pumpkin in the garden. Cinderella brought the largest pumpkin. The fairy godmother touched the pumpkin with her silver wand. At once, a golden coach stood before them. The godmother then transferred her pet mice into well dressed footmen and a coachman to drive the coach. The godmother touched Cinderella with her wand. At once, Cinderella's torn frock became a beautiful gown. On her feet were a tiny pair of glass slippers. Cinderella got into the golden couch. Before the coach left for the palace, the godmother blessed Cinderella. Have a good time at the ball. She also warned her. Remember, you must leave the ball before the midnight passes, for the magic spell will be broken at midnight. Then you will be like as you were before the magic spell. The godmother then disappeared. Cinderella reached the king's palace after traveling in the golden coach. She went into the great hall of the palace where the ball was held. Everybody stared at the beautiful Cinderella, but her stepsisters did not recognize her. She was the most beautiful of all the girls in the ball. The prince came to Cinderella and took her hand. He danced only with her. The prince and Cinderella fell in love with each other at first sight. Cinderella was asked to sit by the side of the prince for the great feast. The clock in the hall struck 12. Cinderella remembered her godmother's warning. She rushed out of the hall. She returned home in the golden coach. The coach became again a pumpkin, and the coachman and the coach footman became mice. The Cinderella, who while rushing out of the hall had dropped one of her glass slippers, the prince, who had followed her, picked it up and kept it with him. The prince told his parents, the king and the queen, I will marry the girl whose foot filled this glass slipper. The king gave the slipper to a royal courtier and told him, take the slipper, go to every house in the city to find out which girl's foot fitted it. The courtier reached the house of Cindrella. The stepsisters tried on the slipper, but it did not fit in the foot of either of the stepsisters. It, however, fitted perfectly the foot of Cindrella. The prince immediately came to the house of Cindrella. In the meanwhile, the godmother had appeared and, using her silver wand, given Cinderella a beautiful gown in the place of the torn frock she was wearing. The prince recognized Cinderella as the girl he had danced with in the ball. The prince took Cinderella to his palace and married her with great pomp and show. Cinderella forgave her stepmother and stepsisters, found them good husbands, and allowed them to live in the palace. Subscribe to the channel, like the story.